This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good day again, everyone. We're coming back on the air to bring you the first public comments from Trump confidant Roger Stone following his arrest and indictment this morning by special counsel Robert Mueller's office. Stone appearing in federal court in Florida this morning with his attorneys is emerging now. We expect him to make some remarks to the reporters who are gathered outside that courthouse, standing with, we believe, members of his legal team. He has been outspoken in the past, already speaking in the last few minutes on a radio program, professing his innocence and saying that he will not bear false witness against the president, meaning if offered, he would not speak out against the president or contradict his claims of no collusion and innocence. So here is the scene. Let's listen.
Mr. Stone is going to speak. He speaks for himself. You know that Roger Stone has always spoken for himself. He's never been shy about telling his story. He is innocent. We're going to defend this case, and we're going to win this case. But let me start out by saying that the spectacle this morning was completely unnecessary. Everyone knows where Roger Stone is. He's not in hiding. The spectacle this morning with a SWAT team breaking into his house, searching the house, scaring his wife, scaring his dogs, completely unnecessary. A telephone call would have done the job, and Mr. Stone would have appeared. But let Roger speak for himself. There's nothing to hide. He has nothing to hide, and he's spoken before, and he'll speak to you now. Roger?
Congratulations, Roger. Gotcha, Roger.
Thank you.
Stand with you, Roger.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. As I have always said, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. After a 2-year inquisition, the charges today relate in no way to Russian collusion, WikiLeaks collaboration, or any other illegal act in connection with the 2016 campaign. I am falsely accused of making false statements during my testimony to the House Intelligence Committee. That is incorrect. Any error I made in my testimony would be both immaterial and without intent. I find it disturbing that the special counsel's office released a press release prior to informing my attorneys that I would be charged today. This morning, at the crack of dawn, 29 FBI agents arrived at my home with 17 vehicles with their lights flashing when they could simply have contacted my attorneys, and I would have been more than willing to surrender voluntarily. They terrorized my wife, my dogs. I was taken to the FBI facility, although I must say the FBI agents were extraordinarily courteous. I will plead not guilty to these charges. I will defeat them in court. I believe this is a politically motivated investigation. I am troubled by the political motivations of the prosecutors. And as I have said previously, there is no circumstance whatsoever under which I will bear false witness against the president, nor will I make up lies to ease the pressure on myself. I look forward to being fully and completely vindicated.
Roger, did you cooperate with the special counsel's office? Did you in any way cooperate with the special counsel's office?
Since I was not contacted prior to the charges today, and my lawyers have not talked to the special prosecutors, I don't want to address that question, but I have made it clear I will not testify against the president. Because I would have to bear false witness against him.
Will you work with the prosecutor?
I will be appearing for an arraignment in D.C. next week, and I'll address those questions at that time.
Roger, the president said that you had guns. He tweeted that. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I intend to tell the truth. I have told the truth through this entire proceeding. and I will prove that in a court of law.
How strong is your allegiance to President Trump?
I am one of his oldest friends. I am a fervent supporter of the president. I think he is doing a great job of making America great again.
Roger, did anyone tell you to contact in the Trump campaign to contact WikiLeaks?
No, I've addressed that before. That is incorrect.
Roger, look at the indictment. The president would pardon you. If you're convicted, you think the president will pardon you?
Pardon me?
If you were convicted, you think the president would pardon you?
The only person I've advocated a pardon for is Marcus Garvey.
Some from NBC News, sir. The question is, did you in any way work with the Russians to help President Trump?
Categorically not. No, absolutely not.
And the prosecutor, your special prosecutor,
We got you, Roger.
is gathering
We got your back,
evidence against this
Roger.
indictment. Will you in any way...
With all due respect, I haven't even had a chance to read the indictment.
You haven't even read the indictment?
Correct. My attorneys have. I have not had that opportunity.
So will you help the prosecutor answer his question?
I will address those questions next week in Washington, D.C.
Roger,
Thank you.
if you didn't do nothing wrong, what do you think you here?
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.